Hey y'all, it says there's a couple of people in here. I don't know if we're on the same time or not because it looks like my phone's a little bit behind, but I'm going to try to watch my phone screen for the chat if I can because I could never see it at the same time on the computer, but we'll see how that goes. We're going to do ghost towns today. Or actually abandoned towns. So we'll see how that goes. There's a few of them on there, and I know Clancy had some that he wanted to go over, and I need to send him a link. If y'all will give me just a second to pull him up a link and send it to him. Because I'm actually behind doing that today. So let me get his typed in. And get him up here. Because I think he was going to do his first. It would help if I could spell. Because I have to text him his link, which means I have to type it all in. Because I'm not, I guess I could put it in the chat, but I don't normally put it in chat just because of trolls. I think that got him. I think so. Not sure, but we'll see. Well, I guess I could have sent it through Gmail, but I don't know his Gmail address, so that's okay. So I sent it to him, so he should be here in just a minute. And if anybody has any ghost towns or anything they want to talk about or abandoned towns, let me know and I'll look them up and we can look at them because I know Lise talked about it a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was Billy Joe that was in chat that said something about them in Ohio and Pennsylvania, and I think I've got a couple of those on my list. So I'll just have to look and see if those are in the list or not, because I've got a ton of tabs that are open, and it's kind of hard to tell which ones are which up at the top because it's got them small since there's a lot of them that are open. But we will see. I was going to go over this one list. I don't want to leave my stream. Oh, there's... Hey, Clancy.
Hey, Susan.
I can hear you now. It took it a second to come on through.
All right. Give me just 1 second. That's a little too much.
Get yourself situated.
Huh?
I said, getting yourself situated, are you?
Yeah. Shit. I got this crap all over my clothes.
That's okay.
Oh.
Did you get it off?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. I have a bunch of tabs pulled up.
Okay.
My allergies today they are getting me. I think I've got the 3 that you wanted to do, which was Flowmont, Dalby, and Electric City. Well, he just lost it. Clancy just lost his life, so he'll be right back. Come on, Clancy. There he is. If I can get my mouse to work.
I accidentally yeeted myself off the panel.
I heard that. You did. I was sharing this out because I hadn't shared it yet. So let me share this really quick. And I know we're gonna do I think Flowmont is the first one that I have
Yeah.
been for, because I've tried to do them kind of in order, so I can keep them straight. And I don't know why.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am so sorry, Susan. I hope you don't mind I'm doing this on your panel.
What? Dipping?
Yeah.
That's a thing of the South, so that's nothing. I mean, I don't know about some of the people, but that's the thing of the South. So,
Oh, I know that. Yes, I know some people like Manic Mandy gets kind of grossed out. That's why I got a cup.
oh, it's okay. It's okay. Just when you go to spit, just don't make it too loud, and you'll be okay. That's the thing I don't like, is the sound of it. So, but anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, Susan.
It's okay. Hey, Pamela. How are you today? I'm gonna do you
Hey,
have
what's
notes?
up?
Did you make I'm sorry. Did you make notes on Flowwood of what you wanted to talk about?
No, I'm not good at writing notes like that. I never was.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna.
I did grab the book though.
Oh, okay. Well, just as long as you've got some notes on there or something.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me see if I can do the present screen. Share my screen and pull up the Flowmont one. Okay. Can you see that on the screen okay?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's came through to the Facebook side yet, has it?
Oh, I see it just fine.
I may have to make it larger on here though. Because on the Facebook side, if you're on I'm just showing you some love. Can't stay as my phone service will be going out. My husband is driving us somewhere. That's okay, Pamela. Thank you so much for coming in. And y'all be careful where you're going. Since you said your phone service is going out, y'all just be careful so that you won't have to have your phone service for an emergency or anything. But have a good afternoon. It's Sunday afternoon, so I know a lot of people have church functions and stuff. I didn't make it last night because I was with my my little 91-year-old that I go down and see, and we had a ton of errands to do yesterday, so she about run me crazy. But let me see if I can make this larger so that you can see the screen.
Well, I better get started and get the book.
Let's see. I may have to pull these pictures up individually because I don't know that it's going to let me enlarge them. But there is on this page, Clancy, there's a little bit of a history of Flowmont.
Mm-hmm.
It says the name is an amalgam of two counties, Floyd and Motley.
Yeah.
Hello. How are you today?
Who's in chat?
Hondo is here and Care Bear is here. Hey, Care Bear. We're just getting started. The first town we were going to talk about
Hondo.
was Flowmont. Flowmont. Am I saying that right? Flowmont.
Yeah, you said it right.
Okay. It's a mixture of two counties, Floyd and Motley. And
Yeah.
originally the post office set at the county line, but they moved it later to a home. But it had a school and it had a post office. The school established in 1890 and the post office in 1902. And let's see, Joe Garrett is the one that shared some pictures online. Hey, Uni.
Hey, Uni.
Listening and driving. Well, you'll have to go back and watch the replay to see like the pictures and stuff that was going on, that we're showing. And I'm trying to watch chat too while I'm doing this. It was a farming land back then. They did cotton and maize were the staples. Maize is wheat, isn't it?
No, maize is corn.
Oh, corn. That's right, because the Indians did corn. And they slaughtered all their own, like beef and all that stuff. But when the highway came through at the end of the Depression and World War II, the town people just moved away because the highway wasn't near them.
Yes, and that is a thing. That is a thing, Susan. A lot of these small farming communities in Texas were hit hard by the Depression.
Yeah, like they had this little, it's a gas station that's closed, and I'm wondering if it will let me make it larger. It might, I don't know. Because I'm pushing the plus button and it's not letting me enlarge view PDF. I wonder if I can do that. Nope. Well, that didn't work. Can you see it on the screen okay? Because it looks tiny.
I just see where it says PDF. Yeah, I see the picture.
Yeah, I had to get rid of that PDF because it was saying watch it PDF, but it's not. That's like an ad to get a program or whatever. So I got rid of that. But they had a the top picture, it says closed gas station. I guess that's the gas station they had back in the day.
Yeah.
And at the top there, if you can see where my mouse is, they had this Coca-Cola sign.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I can hardly read it. It says Robert I. Thomas Service Station is what the writing on the sign is. But it's whited out. I can just see like the impression on the building where the letters were.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that's pretty cool.
And then the church that they had was a Church of Christ church.
Yeah.
And that's the building that's still there. It's just abandoned. And this was a closed church, I guess, back from the 1800s.
Oh, yeah.
That was there. It was a really old church, but it's still standing. And then they had a hardware store. And another store. I guess they were famous for having different stores. Like they didn't have that much of a population, but they had a ton of stores. There's another store that's got the trees all around it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then there's sheep and a sheepdog that was found nearby in a field. So they just have wandering sheep. I'm guessing there's a farmer since there's a sheepdog, but it didn't say anything about it. And then they have egrets in the fields there.
Yeah.
And mule deer. I didn't know. Do mules and deer mix?
Huh? Oh, hold on one second. Let me go get my headphones because that way I can hear what you're saying.
Hondo. Do mules and deer mix? Because it says this is a mule deer. I didn't know that they mix together.
Of course, yeah. Loud dryer. Are gross. Yeah.
Mute for a minute. That squealing is loud.
Sorry, it's our dryer.
Yeah, it's loud, Clancy.
Yeah. Sorry about that, y'all.
Yeah, he's gone outside, Care Bear. I know it was killing my ear with my earbuds. He's
Sorry.
outside, though, so it
Our
shouldn't-
dryer
it
is
shouldn't bother him.
our dryer's broken kinda, and it makes that loud.
So
Okay, now
Hondo,
I'm situated.
yeah, I was asking, do mule and deer, do they mix?
I'm not really sure how they got that name. I think it's because of their size.
Oh, Hondo said no. Mule deers is just a breed of deer, and its long ears and bigger size is why they call them mule deer.
Yeah.
They're not interbred. Well, that I didn't think they would be, but with the name, I was like, I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
if they do or not. But there's not much left of this town other than, the few buildings that are there and stuff.
Yeah.
There's not
Oh,
much
yeah.
left there.
Yeah, and that's a common thing we ran into, Susan, when we were looking up some of these towns. Is like there was not even a building left.
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly, in this one, they do have the church that's left. And I don't know why it's not okay. Let me go back to the screen so I can see. So that's about it. I mean, they just have those few buildings that are left there. The abandoned stores, and they have a closed shop, which was a hardware store, and they had like 3 churches,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much it that's left in that town. It's just a shame, that the highway, when it came through, wiped it out, and there was nothing left there for the people to do.
Yeah, and that's a common theme, especially in Texas. That's a common theme. Sometimes they would petition if they were having like a new railroad or a new highway built. Some of these small towns like this would they would petition to have it come through there, but a lot of times it didn't happen, and so these towns just died.
Right. Hondo said it's run down like that here. A lot of old abandoned coal mine towns.
Oh yeah, in that part of the
Care
country.
Bear can still hear the dryer, just not as loud. Care Bear, I don't hear it now.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
it's
don't hear
coming
the
through on
dryer.
the YouTube side, but I don't hear it.
Yeah, I don't hear the dryer.
Maybe it's something else that's echoing because I don't.
Oh yeah. Oh, I hear the dryer. That's why I came out here, because it's not that loud. I wasn't expecting my mom to do laundry today. Sorry about that, y'all.
Yeah, I'm not hearing it right this second, but I don't know. Maybe it's in the background, but I'm not hearing it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I came outside.
Yeah, but that was one of the towns that you wanted to look up, and it says it's one. Let's see, they were sharecroppers when they came to the town, and they started the mercantile store, and then after the highway was run through it, pretty much.
Yeah.
I can barely hear it, so it's not hurting my ears.
Yeah.
Hondo, Clancy is he wants to know where you're from, Clancy. He is in Virginia.
I'm from Texas. I live on the coast in southeast Texas.
Okay, let's see. The other town that you wanted to do was Electric City, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I'll try to pull that one up for you. Make sure I get the right page pulled up.
Yeah. Electric City. That was an oil town out there in the West Texas oil field.
I was trying to see if I had more photos of that one, but let's see. if
I
can
did send
share
you a
that one.
picture from that book where I came across that town.
Yeah, Electric City, but it was hard on my phone. Like you couldn't.
And in that photo, you can see the actual oil derricks.
I think there may be something on here. Let me see. Did that one come up? Okay. Let me get back to my page. It says it's in Hutchinson County and it's 8 miles south of Stinnett. And it's on the Canadian River. And I wish it would let me enlarge this picture.
Oh, great.
Or enlarge my screen. Oh, there we go. Let's see if that helps. Did that help?
Yeah. That's that picture I sent you. Yeah.
This was one that was online that I found.
Yeah, and that's the pic. That's the. I'm sorry, Susan. I'll let you talk.
That's okay. Hondo says he has been to Silverfish, Texas. That was the smallest town he had ever seen in Texas when he was driving through Texas to California.
Yes. There in Hondo, there's communities out there that don't even really have their own post office here. They got to go to another place to get mail.
You know, where I live, we have a little post office here, and they're talking about closing it. And we would either have to go up to Dahlonega or into Gainesville to get our mail if they close our post office here.
Yeah, so, where we used to go hunting at in Etoll, Texas, it's like that. They got to go over to Woodin, Texas to get mail.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, this is Electric City, Texas, looking west.
Yeah. And so, you see the oil derricks?
Yeah, right there where my mouse is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, it was a town, but it didn't look like it was huge.
No. During this period in the 20s and 30s, a lot of these oil field towns were nothing more than just small communities, mainly set up for the workers.
Yeah, it said the town was built in 1926 during the oil boom, and the name is in reference to Riverview Power Plant. And they made electricity so that the oil fields, they could work 24/7.
Yeah.
And this town, like the others, once the highway was constructed, it was close to Borger. Am I saying that right?
Broger?
Borger. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody moved, but a few of the residents stayed. In 1948, only 5 people lived in this town.
Wow. Only 5 people in 1948?
Yeah, that's it. And you can see where they were drilling oil at night, and they did have lights. The power plant did provide electricity.
Yeah.
And that's the power plant. So
that is cool.
Was like it was the biggest thing in town. Like it was the only thing that was left.
Yeah. And in that book that I read, where I was reading about this, they still use that power plant today.
What does it power though? If there's nobody living in this town, where does the power go to?
Probably to some of the neighboring oil fields, maybe.
Maybe.
That's the only thing that makes sense. That's why they still use this.
Hondo says a lot of places are like that where he's at. In West Virginia, one post office for like two towns miles apart.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's, they don't have a choice but to do them miles apart. But that's kind of sad that, they don't have a post office in their own town where they can get their own mail.
Yeah. And we were talking about, like, I mean, how crazy it is that they would just build these communities out there in the middle of the desert, complete with movie theaters. And then when business just died, they just up and left everything sitting out there in the desert.
Yeah, it's really sad that these buildings are there. It seems like, I mean, I know people don't want to live there,
Yeah.
but my
Yeah, it's
thought
just
is
you,
if they
you
were
build all this.
my thought is if they're close to a big city where there's like a huge homeless population, it seems like, the city could provide power to these little towns, and rather than letting the buildings disintegrate, make them into homes for the homeless or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, instead of just letting the
Yeah,
buildings fall
that'd be
apart.
a smart thing to do.
So, but cities don't usually care too much about the homeless people.
No, they don't.
So let's see. You wanted to do Darby, Texas?
Oh yeah, Dolby Springs.
Yes. Texas Ghost Town is located in Bowie County. And is it zoomed in? Is it still zoomed in so you can see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Now, what Dolby Springs was is pretty much in the 19th century. If you had like those mineral water springs, people back then apparently believed that it would cure almost everything you could think of. And so people would come from miles around to drink this water.
That's kind of like in South Georgia, we have the warm springs, and people go there to get in the warm springs to help heal like their arthritis and stuff.
Yeah. And that's what this town was.
Yeah, everybody's left now. This was the Methodist church that was there from 1839, and it's a historic landmark now.
Yeah.
And it says settlement began in the late 1830s when Warren Dalby, his family moved there and discovered the springs. So it created a boom. And it reached 250 people by the 1880s. It dropped below 200 in 1900 and remained there for decades. And then by the 1950s, it only had 50 residents. In the 2000 census, it had increased to 141. So, I mean, it is getting, it has built up some, but that's the historical marker for the church, for the Methodist Church. It was built out of knotless pine in 1888. So it does have a historical marker. And this is the sign that's on top of the church. It says Dalby Springs United Methodist Church, established in 1830. The sign is so worn you can bear 1839, and it looked like a zero on there.
Yeah.
But it's a really old sign on the church.
Yeah.
And then they have the cemetery that's still there with the bell. That's an old cemetery. Those markers are old.
Oh, yeah.
And the cemetery bell, I guess, maybe they rang the bell when they were doing like a funeral or something.
Yeah, that's what that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. Here, if you're poor and you own your own land and home, you can live off of $400 a month. But we're getting most of the bigger cities homeless problems and immigrants because it's so cheap to live here. That's horrible, Hondo. So are the cities sending the homeless out to you guys, or are they just kind of migrating out there? I was gonna see if Hondo was answering real quick, but that's pretty much all that's left in Dalby is that church, and they've made it a historical site. So nobody will ever be able to tear it down or anything. They won't be able to mess it up or anything.
Yeah.
So the ones
Yeah, and the crazy part is, Susan, during the days when that town was booming, they used to have a train that went out there, and kids would literally make money selling bottles of Dalby water to train passengers. A lot of times it wasn't the spring water, though; it was fake Dalby water.
Oh, so they sold it and telling people they could be healed from it?
Yeah, kids would make money doing that, selling fake bottles of so-called Dalby water to train passengers.
Oh, wow.
I read that in another book about this place.
If the water didn't really heal people, sometimes, I guess it's my faith is that, if you believe hard enough and, you pray, sometimes, it's a matter of mind over matter. So maybe if they were convinced the water would heal them, in their mind, maybe
that's what I'm thinking.
Better.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Hondo says homeless people are migrating here from cities from Pennsylvania to New York. Wow. So I guess, Hondo, are they taking buses and stuff to get there? Like, if they're coming that far from, like, New York, it seems like they would need transportation or something to get there. And maybe those cities are paying for bus tickets. I know when we had the Olympics in Atlanta in '96, they were given they wanted to clear out the homeless population in Atlanta around the stadiums and all where the Olympics were going to be. And they were paying one-way bus tickets for homeless people. They could go anywhere in the country they wanted to go. And the city would pay for that ticket for them to go to get them out of Atlanta.
Wow.
That was their thing. They, tried to make the city look all clean and, that it was this perfect city or whatever. And it's not. There's like a huge homeless population. But yeah, they gave them one-way tickets. That way they couldn't come back.
Wow.
So, that's the way cities do. It's they just send them somewhere else and, figure somebody else can deal with them.
And that's just sad right there.
Honda says buses, hitching, mostly buses. Yeah, it's sad. I'm sure if they're hitching on buses, they somehow know that they got a ticket, and it wouldn't surprise me if the city didn't pay for it. Which is, it's sad that you send them to another city to deal with rather than, doing something about the problem. Because a lot of the homeless are veterans. Rather than sending all this money overseas that we do, a lot of the homeless are veterans and stuff. So use some of that money and help them out. I think we need to help our country first because there's a lot of people in need. Especially the ones that have served our country protecting us, then we need to protect them.
Exactly. And we were talking about this on the phone one day.
Yeah, it doesn't, it doesn't always work, but that's just my opinion. One of the homeless cities that I found, and I thought it was really interesting, I thought there was just Seattle, Washington. And I thought that's all there was to it. I did not know that there was an underground Seattle.
What?
There's a city under the city.
Wow. Wow. I never heard of that.
It was a historic city. It's under the streets of Seattle. And it closed because there was a fire. Apparently, there was a careless worker that was heating glue over gas and over a gas fire, and he caught the furnishings and the floor on fire in a cabinetry shop. And it just went up in flames. And it burned out pretty much the whole underground.
I never heard of
So
this.
I had never heard of this. And next time I talk to Stellar, I'm going to have to ask him about this and see if he knows about it. Excuse me. Care Bear says, do you realize how much they even give to refugees monthly? The government doesn't want to help its own people, but will help everyone else. Exactly, Care Bear. You know, we send so much, you know, well, we give so much to the immigrants here, but then we send so much money, millions and billions, to other countries to help them. But yet we've got, you know, hundreds of thousands of homeless people. Excuse me, my nose and all itching. We send all that money to them, but we've got hundreds of thousands of homeless people here that need help. And there's other people that are not homeless, but they're on the verge of being homeless that need help here, especially with our economy the way it is nowadays. There's a lot of people in this country that are hurting, and our government is doing nothing to help them. You know, the price of stuff is going up nonstop, and I just think we need to do something in this country first.
Yeah. I mean, we're sending, like I was saying the other day, we're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine, but we won't even help our own country.
Right. Hondo said he's met some homeless folks coming here from as far as Canada and South America. And that's it. That, you know, that's part of the problem. You know, our borders are pretty much open, and everybody comes here, you know, thinking they can get a free handout. And they are, some of them are getting handouts, but still, you know, they're living on the streets. They come here thinking, you know, that they're going to get all set up, and then they end up on the streets. They don't know people here. A lot of them can't even speak our language. And it's just sad what our country is coming to. So this underground Seattle, it was amazing walking through. It doesn't say on some of these pictures what they are. It's it just shows like walking through and where it's crumbling, going through the city.
Yeah.
This right here looks like an old press or something. I can't. It's hard.
Yeah, the printing press. That's the printing press.
That's what it looks like. Maybe that, did that make it bigger?
Yeah, that is a printing press right there for like a newspaper or something. When did this place close down?
1889 is when the fire raged through it.
Oh, wow.
It says in 1889, a fire raged through the fledgling city, razing much of the wood buildings in the business district. The blaze was widely attributed to a careless worker heating glue over a gas fire, catching the furnishings and floor on fire in a cabinetry shop. Founded on the logging industry, most of the original city was built of wood, and little survived the flames that destroyed 31 blocks.
Whoa.
So yeah, it's you can tell where they're underground because you can see like the grates overhead in this picture.
Wouldn't that be cool to go down there and actually look at this in person?
It would be cool, but I don't know that it would be really safe to go down there. The last picture over to the right, and it won't let me pan over any further, you can see where it would like totally burned.
Yes.
Care Bear says Somalis were getting over $800 a month per person 10 years ago. Can you imagine what they're giving now? I can't. There's no telling what they're getting now. Honda says, I've met homeless folks from Russia, India, Nepal, Thailand. It's a mixed bag. Most of them are on welfare or working poor, living in camp Freslin, they're freezing their butts off in the harsh winters. That's true. You know, here in Atlanta, when it gets really cold in the winter, they open up warming stations. So the people can go and stay warm. And then during the summer, they open up cooling stations where they can go and cool off. And then at the Centennial Olympic Park, they have the what do you call them? Kind of like sprinklers that come up out of the ground around the emblems, the Olympic emblems.
Yeah.
And kids like to go there and play in the water when it squirts up out of the ground and does all that. But a lot of the elderly people and stuff are able to go there, and they have like it's a building that has like a fine mist that you can go into and cool off.
Whoa, that's pretty cool.
That's what they do here in Atlanta. Yeah, after this Seattle burnt, they changed all the building ordinances. And they required buildings to be made from stone and brick.
Yeah.
Instead of being all wood, so that this would never happen again. Because it literally took out 31 blocks just from one fire. I mean, it wiped out the whole town.
Wow.
So yeah, I never knew there was an underground Seattle.
Yeah, I never heard of this.
But it totally burnt in 1889. See, Care Bear says the only reason I know that is because my old neighbor and good friend, who is a refugee, told me how much she got a month. You know, and that's sad. We've got people here that are actual citizens that don't even get that much a month. Hopefully, if I drink something, it's going to keep me from coughing. So yeah, that was one of the cities that I thought was interesting. Another one that I had never heard of was Rhyolite, Nevada. And let's see if I'm sharing the right one. This one. Because it had pictures. Rhyolite was founded in 1905. And it was one of those mining towns.
Yeah, and that's common out there. This guy does history, and he goes out and does towns. And I want to say, I hope this is the one that I was supposed to click on. Look at those trees. What trees?
Nope, he's not in the right town. Hold on. I'm on the wrong one. Sorry. That one did look interesting, though, but it wasn't an abandoned town, I don't think. Rhyolite is in Nye County, Nevada. And it was one of the mining towns that came up. And then, you know, after mining went down, everything disappeared. And this was the only building that's left in the town.
Yeah, used that.
The ground.
Whoa. What is that, like a general store?
It's a mercantile, which is a general store. And everything else there is like metal figures that people have done artwork and stuff on. But this is the only building that is existing in that town now.
What?
And it was a mercantile store, but now it is their museum. And it's the only building in the town. So I'm not quite sure what they have in the museum. Because when I was going through, you know, people said there's nothing left here. So they're not sure what the museum holds because it wasn't open. And they went through like
Yeah.
on a weekday when it should have been open, and there were a lot of people walking around, but they couldn't see what was in the museum. All they could see was this building. And
It's probably got artifacts from the town in there.
Yeah, I mean, and it may have old pictures of the town, but you couldn't get in there to see. And when I was looking online, the only pictures that I really saw, it would show like these smaller mountains or whatever, like the landscape, but this was the only building. When you look at it, that's all that's there to see. So Hondo says, we don't have any of that here for the homeless. Most of them freeze to death, and all the trash and pollution is so bad here. It smells bad, and their needles and waste never get cleaned up. It's gross as fuck in them homeless camps, and if you accidentally wander into them, they will attack you. That's true, Hondo. There's a tent city here that's under like the overpasses, and they always tell you don't go out there by yourself because a lot of the churches collect and want to take clothes and stuff like that out there, but they're like, don't ever go by yourself.
Yeah.
Especially the females, but make sure there's a group of you that goes, because otherwise they will attack and take whatever you have.
Yeah.
So it's really sad, that they do that. You would you would hope that if you were taking them stuff out there to help them, that they would be grateful instead of attacking. But when they're on drugs, they don't think about stuff like that. So it is what it is. Let's see. The next town was St. Elmo, Colorado. Let me see if I can pull that one up. All right, St. Elmo. Share. And let me find my notes.
Whoa, that's actually pretty cool looking.
It's a ghost town in Chaffee County, Colorado. It was founded in 1880, and it lies in the heart of the Sawatch Range. It was founded in 1880. Let's see. People settled there when mining for gold and silver. And it's one of the most well-preserved ghost towns in Colorado. And then after all the mining and stuff was done, they it emptied out just like everywhere else. People left the town. But there are a lot of really good preserved buildings there.
Yeah, it's an old story.
Yeah,
they build these towns out there.
These buildings look really good, though. Like they are very well preserved.
It's because of the climate. In that part of the country, it's a very arid climate, and so stuff like this survives a lot longer.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, that town. Some of the stuff, like the hotel, you could still book a room in the hotel and stay there. So you kind of get, a feel of what it was like back in the day. But yeah, that was the old hotel originally. And they just fix them up.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that one, I would like to take a tour of that one.
Yes.
That one was it was a good one. And the last thing that the one that I was really interested in doing was there's a guy on YouTube that has bought. It's the one you told me about, Clancy. He's bought that.
Yes, Cerro
abandoned
Gordo,
town,
California.
and he's restoring it back to its original. Let's see.
Yeah, Cerro Gordo, California. It's a town out there in Death Valley. It was a silver mining town, and it had a pretty violent reputation. One guy actually said its reputation was literally out of a Clint Eastwood Western.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Before I look at that one, there was another one, and the tab was mislabeled. It's a town called Centralia, Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
and it's been on fire since 1962.
Been
Like,
on
literally,
fire?
the town has been burning that long.
Whoa.
Let me get it on the screen. It was a fire that erupted inside a coal mine, and everybody thought it would quickly burn out, but the blaze is still going 6 decades later, and the state has finally given up on trying to fight it. It used to have 14 active coal mines and 2,500 residents in the early 20th century. But by the 1960s, the boom was over, mines were abandoned, and then there was just 1,000 people in the town. But the coal mine fires began again. And
that is crazy. That is insane.
It is. In 1962, a fire started in a landfill and spread to the labyrinth of coal tunnels that miners had dug feet below the surface. And they couldn't get this fire to go out. So in the 1980s, the police ordered everyone out of the town. And the government even revoked the zip code. So, I mean, it's like it no longer existed, like it was just like it never existed with no zip code. And 6 homes remained. But even all these years later, the ground is still smoldering. And they said there's enough coal in the ground for this town to burn for 250 more years.
Whoa.
So they won't ever let anybody back in this town. I mean, if it's going to burn like this, for 250 years. And with the mines, they said you could step in holes and, go down into a mine shaft, and the mine shafts, they're burning. But yeah, you can see smoke coming out of the ground.
That is insane.
And it said a lot of the townspeople back in the day passed away from the carbon monoxide from the fire that was coming up. It was getting in their houses, and people were dying from breathing it.
Whoa.
So they built ventilation shafts to keep the gas from building up under the town, because then there would have been like a huge explosion. But it still burnt. I mean, when you've got coal there, I mean, it spreads miles and miles and miles.
So and this town will burn? This town will burn for 250 years?
Yeah, there's enough coal underground for it to burn another 250 years.
Jeez.
So, I mean, it's pretty much, burnt a lot of the stuff in the town, and now all you see is smoke coming out of the ground. So yeah, people, when the fire originally started, people were complaining about the odors and smoke coming out of the ground around the landfill, and the fire just kept spreading and spreading. And they were trying to put out the fire, but you can see the smoke coming out of the ground. And you hear of those, what do you call it, when the ground drops out beneath you?
A sinkhole?
A sinkhole, yes. There was a kid that was standing there, and all of a sudden the ground just disappeared under him. And luckily he was able to grab a tree root and hold on to it till a friend of his came and pulled him out. But otherwise his 12-year-old would have dropped down into
A
all the
fire.
stuff that's burning. Yeah. So that's why the government has ordered people out, because, you know, with it burning, there's just the ground drops out beneath you. But this is one of the people that decided to stay in the town when they were ordered out. He's the former mayor. His name is Lamar Mervin. And
Yeah.
he's standing, you know, up on a hill, and you can see the town smoldering behind him. But he refused to leave. That's his home, and he won't go. So this is the story of the 12-year-old that I was talking about. It was on Valentine's Day in 1981. 12-year-old Todd Dombrowski's, the ground dropped out from Todd Dombrowski's feet. The ground was searing, and the sinkhole was 150 feet deep.
Jeez.
So if he had fell, he would have went 150 feet. But he grabbed a hold of a tree root, and his cousin arrived to pull him out. So in 1983, the state of Pennsylvania spent more than $7 million trying to put out the fire. A child almost died, and they decided it was time to just abandon that town. They had had enough. And the federal government, you know, our federal government that doesn't help the homeless or anything, paid $42 million to purchase this town. And they demolished all the buildings and relocated all the residents. So there was a few families that went through legal battles and stuff that are still there. So in 1993, 63 residents remained, and they became squatters in the houses they had owned for decades.
Whoa.
You know, the government come in and said, we're kicking you out of your home, and they didn't want to go. So they are now officially squatters.
Squatters in their own homes.
In their own
wow.
homes. Yep. And so,
that's our government for you.
Yeah, they demolished a lot of buildings. So what's left of Centralia is this road where people do graffiti.
Jeez.
Let's see. Honda said most of the homeless folks I met ran away from home to get out of abusive situations when they were younger. I can relate. Oh, Honda says he made a video game about that town called Silent Hill, and it spawned 2 movies.
This town did, Hondo?
That's what it looks like. So 2 movies were spawned from this town, and it burning.
Whoa.
Let's see. They got that town's roads all barricaded off with huge earth mounds. You can't drive into it. Only way to get to it is hiking into it or driving an ATV. Wow.
Whoa.
It says, today Centralia is better known as a tourist attraction for people looking to glimpse one of the plumes of noxious smoke rising from beneath the earth. The surrounding forest has crept in where a once thriving Main Street lined with demolished buildings. People have called it a ghost town, but I look at it as a town that is now full of trees instead of people. And the truth is, I'd rather have trees than people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, another 250 years, this town will burn. Fewer than 5 people still live in Centralia. Experts estimate that there's enough coal underneath Centralia to fuel the fire for another 250 years.
That's just insane.
It is. I mean, I can't imagine, having my home there and then, the government coming in and saying, oops, you're no longer own your home and you become a squatter.
Yeah, a squatter in your own home. Wow.
Hondo says, look up Silent Hill movie of the video games. They're embellished to the real facts of what happened in that town. Okay. Hondo, you want me to look it up now? I don't mind. I can look it up and see what I can share. Silent Hill movie. Let's see. Let's see. Yep, I can't answer the phone right now. All right, dogs, don't start with me right now.
What are they doing?
They're wanting to play. Let's see.
Is that Riley?
Movie. No, actually, it's Ruby and Roxy. Let's see. Let me see if I can enlarge this so that we can read what it says. Let's see. Silent Hill film is a 2006 supernatural horror film directed by Christopher Gans and written by Roger Avery, based on the video game series of the same name published by Konami.
Yeah, Konami. They make good games now.
The first installment in the Silent Hill film series stars Radha Mitchell. Am I saying that right? I don't know. Sean Bean, Laurie Holden, Deborah, Kara Unger, Kim Coates. Let's see what it says over here because it describes the movie. It's a supernatural horror film. Says the movie was released on April 21st, 2006 by TriStar Pictures. But it doesn't really tell us what it is, other than it's based on a game. And then there was a sequel, Silent Hill Revelation, taking place 6 years after the first film's events, was released on October 26th. There's a trailer. Let's see. Why did it stop?
Hurry.
The fire started 30 years ago.
Do you know what's going on here? This place is completely cut
off.
Can
you hear it?
Yeah, I hear it.
I'm not exactly like
Why? Rose, come on! Rose, hurry!
Goodness.
Hurry.
The fire started 30 years ago.
Do you know what's going on here? This place is completely cut off.
Only the Dark One opens and closes.
She looks exactly like Sharon. Why?
Yeah, Hondo, I see that. Like it did show, like you could see the smoke coming out of the ground. Wow. I'll have to look that movie up. That looked like it would be a pretty good movie. Surely it's on Netflix or something since it was from 2006.
Yeah, that does look interesting.
And there's a behind the scenes video, but it's 28 minutes long. It is on the IMDb site. So usually they have a link where you can watch the movie.
Oh, okay.
It looks like there's like a series, or no, Silent Hill Revelation. And there's a collector's edition. And then there is a link for the true story and the town's history. So they have at least produced something from the movie that, tells the town's actual history. They're not just, showing clips and not telling why all the smoke is there. That looks interesting, though. I'll have to look up that movie.
Yeah. Same here, Susan. I'll have to watch that.
Hondo says the theme of the game and movie were taken in what happened in Centralia, Pennsylvania with the coal mine fires. Okay. So they've kind of combined it all, it looks like. So, and let's see. The final one was the guy that's on YouTube that he's actually spent his entire life savings on an abandoned ghost town.
Yeah, restoring it for tourists. I think it's cool.
Yeah, it is. So let's see if I can share, and we'll have to kind of talk throughout it. That way he won't strike me, because we'll use it as fair use. Is it on the screen?
Yeah, I see it.
And I'm gonna full screen it. I'm gonna go to that screen and full screen it.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully. And I'll wait till it comes up on the YouTube side. Well, it disappeared. Let's see.
No, I still see it on my end.
I don't see it on my phone, though. Like, I'm looking at YouTube on my phone, and I don't see it. It's not showing. Hold on. Let me try it again. There it is. It's not going to let me full screen it. I be able to. Oh, there we go. Maybe. Did that make it bigger?
Oh yeah, that's good.
Okay. And this is his entire life savings building this town. Let me see if I can move it a little bit. I can hit the play button.
Supposedly all the casinos and hotels are closed, so it should be a weird kind of like utopia look into, I guess, 4 hours of the hike, and I'm completely lost. Dolphin died. Douglas don't have no idea where to go, but honestly,
Susan? Oh boy. It looks like she accidentally kicked herself out of the stream.
Sorry, y'all.
Oh, now she's back.
I'm back. I don't know what happened, but all right, hold on. Let me go back. Maybe it was when I put it full screen. Maybe that's what knocked me off.
Yeah, because I was like, Susan?
Yeah, let's try doing it without the full screen and see if that works. Because that's when it knocked me off, was when I did the full screen. And it's just not gonna. I guess it won't let me do the full screen on here. All right. I'm not seeing it on the screen. Is it?
I see it on my phone, but yeah.
Oops. I can't enlarge it that much because it's going to mess it up. All right. Is it on the screen? Okay.
Yeah, I see
Care
it.
Bear, Care Bear says she sees it. I don't know why it's not showing on my phone, but I'm going to hit the play button because I can watch
And
it
I'm
on
completely
the
lost. My cell phone died. The sun goes down. I'll have no idea where to go, but I honestly don't know what to
Oh,
do.
now I see it on my phone. My phone's just slow.
Morning. I'm just waking up here at Cerro Gordo. It's about 6 a.m. and we are in a former mining town located about 3 hours outside
Isn't
of
that
LA.
beautiful?
And this is a town
Yes.
about a
The
year and a
views
half ago,
there?
my friend John Beer and I sank essentially our life savings into, as well as a lot of the savings of friends, clients.
Just look at that
When
view,
coronavirus hit
Susan.
about 3 or 4 weeks
It's
ago.
beautiful.
I was living in Austin, Texas. Packed up my truck, drove about 24 hours straight to get here.
Look at that.
I think I'm going to get into Vegas around sunset, which will be cool. Supposedly all of the casinos and hotels are closed, so it should be a weird kind of like dystopian look into Vegas. From there, I think I'm going to cross Death Valley in the middle of the night, which should be some crazy stars and pretty fun.
That's pretty.
Yes.
Final stretch. Just getting into Death Valley, crossing over to Cerro Gordo. All right, you want to see actually how dark it is out here? Watch this.
There's nothing
That's
there.
so
It's
freaky.
completely
You
dark.
cannot see anything.
Yeah, I know.
There's no light pollution out here.
Yeah, like a lot of times when you're driving, you at least have like the stars and stuff like that. Can you imagine being out there and it being completely dark like that?
Oh, I know, right?
Share broke. Gotta lay off that rice and beans. So my first night coming up here, I'm used to coming up here during the summer, so there's no problem getting up our 7-mile road. It's a sketchy road. It's a road that has switchbacks, it's single lane gravel.
7 miles.
You're twisting and turning, going from 2,000 feet above sea level to 8,500 feet above sea level. So you go almost a mile in elevation during that.
Honda says, I would turn that old town into a hunting camp. There's a lot of mule deer there, turkey, hog, and bear. This guy will make some good money.
Oh, I know,
eat
right?
Mule deer? I mean, is that like, a regular deer? Can you eat mule deer?
I've heard of people eating them, but I've never had it. In Texas, we get the whitetail and axis variety.
Well, I mean, we have the whitetail here, but I mean, it's a type of deer, so I'm assuming you could probably eat it. I don't know.
7-mile road. And the first night I was coming in, it was snowing. I didn't know it at the bottom because typically it doesn't snow at the bottom, but because we're in the mountains, the snow will accumulate up there. So maybe 3/4 of the road up, I start seeing some pretty heavy, what I think is rain. And the closer I get to town, the more I realize that's snow. Not only a little bit of snow, but a lot of snow. I was deciding to enter Cerro Gordo at 1 a.m. in a blizzard.
Drive on that road.
Which is the perfect time to start this adventure. Just to explain how precarious this is.
Look at
That way, that's a cliff that goes down thousands and thousands of feet.
But I'm seeing
So I remember the first day we're coming up and just every turn, looking at the rock formation, it's like, wow. And you're just waiting for it. And then finally you take the final turn into Cerro Gordo and the town kind of presents itself in front of you. I can see maybe 2-3 feet in front of me with the snow. If I stay here, the snow will snow me in where I can't move my truck tomorrow morning. So we're really in a bad bad position.
Nope,
Fuck.
nope, nope. I'm not driving on a road like that with it snowing.
No.
Where Gordo?
And look at it the next morning.
Whoa.
These are the shoes I have.
Where'd it go? Hold on.
My other shoes are down in my truck that's snowed in.
There we go.
Well, there she is.
You can't see the screen really well.
Town's up there. And I made it to about there with the truck. I've learned that just because it's mid-May does not mean that there's no snow at Cerro Gordo.
I've driven on, oh my God, roads in the middle of the night. I didn't know that was what it was called. Never again. Yeah, Care Bear.
No getting out now. Been snowed in for maybe 4 or 5 days. Looking for like another 4 or 5 days. We have food left for, I don't know, another couple of days. There's a big storm coming.
Yeah, I would not want
Being
to
here
be
for the last
stormed
3
into
weeks,
that.
this is the house that I live in. I wanted to kind of show it uncleaned up. We are currently in Mr. Belshaw's house. That's Mortimer himself. This is my desk. Just all sorts of great things happening there. Really excited about how that's looking. That's where get all my work done right there. And a collection of books. Pretty nice. This is a drone that I have yet to figure out how to use. But if anybody has any ideas, I'd love to add that to the repertoire, I suppose. Some BBs. Some bullets. Some protection. You know what I mean? And up here, found this earlier today. This is kind of cool. It is a Sunday school thing with an inscription from 1842, which is just wild. This is the house. This is where I am currently residing. That's my heater right there. That's some socks trying to dry out from all the snow. Some boots. Extensive VHS collection. We're not streaming anything up here.
Man, look at all those. Yeah,
All
look
right.
at all those tapes.
Welcome to the crib. This is a little project I've been working on for the last few weeks. We're over on the backside of Cerro Gordo right now. We're in Newtown. The main town is just over there, over that ridge. And back here, the property extends almost beyond where the sun is heading right now.
Look at that view.
And if you look further than that, that's
Oh,
Death
I
Valley.
know.
And a lot of the workers used to live over here, a lot of the miners. And they built houses in the hillsides. And some of them even lived in caves where they would put doors on,
Look at
which is
that.
pretty crazy.
A cave.
I wanted a project that was kind of manageable, something small enough that I could learn things, kind of build my confidence in doing these projects without risking any of the main buildings over in the town. So this is the first one I started attacking. I put in this
Oh, they had
deck.
the bed
Don't know
there
anything
with
about
that
building a deck,
spring
but
thing.
I'm pretty proud of it.
Yeah,
Then you
that
watch a
bed
YouTube
is
video.
wild.
It's a cabin that eventually I hope to make a little writer's retreat or artist retreat so people would come, read, be peaceful. As far as the first project, it's a good one. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I can't wait to show you guys the progress over the coming weeks.
Wow. I would be
Yeah.
happy with that. Like my
We have the
storage building
bunkhouse,
outside
and,
could be a tiny
I'll be
house.
honest with you, I don't really love the bunkhouse. It's not about the structure. It's very functional. It's not about the shape or the design. But I have my one and only ghost story from in here.
I noticed it's
And ever
one of the best
since,
hunting camps for
I
elk,
really
mule
dislike
deer,
going in
and
here,
black
particularly
bear, and
alone.
buffaloes are in North Utah in the
Particularly
bog.
at night. So whenever you have a ghost
They're so
town,
far out in the boonies.
one of
they
the
have
first
it run
questions
fiber
people
optic
ask
cables
is,
there
have you seen any
for
ghosts?
Wi-Fi. Yeah, Hondo, I don't
And
Yeah.
have fiber optics
admittedly,
either.
prior to buying Cerro Gordo, I was a firm non-believer in ghosts.
I have
It
Wi-Fi,
just
but it's not
wasn't
fiber
my
optic.
thing. And then one night, I publicly said on TV, listen, I don't think ghosts are a thing. And literally that night, some friends of mine were staying up at the Belshaw house. So I walked down here to the bunkhouse, and I looked in that first window,
No, that's a
right
pretty
there.
nice building.
and the curtain opened and closed. And after it opened and closed, a little face looked out, and the light was on in the kitchen. That's the kitchen area right there. And so, no big deal. The contractors have been up here at Cerro Gordo staying in the house. So I turned around and I went and stayed in a different house. And in the morning, I went down to Robert, our caretaker, and I said, Robert,
He probably is Hondo.
how long are the
Get it
contractors
out
staying
there
in the
right now.
bunkhouse? And he kind of
Oh,
turned and
yeah.
looked at me and said, the contractors left 2 weeks ago. And so that was a bit spooky, but you know what? Not going to freak out yet. I came back down here. I went into the door. I locked it. I turned off the light and I locked it with that padlock that you can see right there. So after it was locked, I went back. I stayed in the Belshaw house that night up there. And when I came back later to go watch a hike up on the top of the mountain, the light was back on in the kitchen,
Oh, no.
even though the door
I'd
was
have been
locked.
gone.
So ghosts, I don't know.
I ain't dealing
If you want
with
to
no
support
ghosts.
Cerro Gordo, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Instagram, send us some fan mail by email, leave a 6-pack of beer at the bottom of the hill. Do whatever you like.
A lot of folks died in them old western boom towns, killing each other.
Being out here alone does have some
jumping from
challenges.
The company mines.
And some potential dangers to it too. You know, the first night I was here, I decided I was going to go on a walk.
Yeah,
I wanted to go on a
Hondo, and
really
they
long
used,
walk.
You know, it used to be if they stole like
so
horses and stuff.
I brought
they'd
this
throw you
camera,
off in the middle of town.
started on my way, and
Yeah.
headed over the backside of the mountain. When I got there, I saw a snowstorm happening in Death Valley, and I thought it'd be cool to take some videos. So that's my waist. That's the snow. That's some bobcat tracks. It's a snowstorm.
Yeah, I'm not going to be out there where bobcats.
Scenery's
are at.
beautiful though.
No.
I went right when I usually go left, and I started walking right into the storm. And the storm got to the point where it was basically a whiteout. You know, I couldn't see 5 feet in front of me, and the sun was going down, snow was getting worse, and at one point, I had no idea where I was. About 4 hours into the hike, and I'm completely lost. My cell phone died, and I was using some towers as a point of reference, but it wasn't the right tower. And now it's snowing really heavily, and
Wow.
I can't see anything anywhere. I'm only concerned because the sun goes down, I'll have no idea where to go, but I honestly don't know what to do.
Wow. That would scare me if I was lost and couldn't see anything around me.
Eventually I found a
Oh, I
small
know.
concrete structure. It was basically the size of maybe an outhouse, but made out of concrete. So I could at least duck into there, get away from the snow that was falling really heavily, and wait it out a little bit. Found a shelter for the day. This is a really good scent
You
given
can always make a lot of money
what this is up to.
turning into
Oh,
a
yeah.
ghost town tourist trap for paranormal investigators.
Luckily, in about 30 minutes, the snow stopped, and I was able to find a road that brought me back into Cerro Gordo
I'm
after
surprised
dark.
people hadn't been out there
Unfortunately, the
trying
camera
to-
died,
after he did
so I
his
couldn't
videos.
capture too much of it, but it was a very real experience. You know, it's something that had a couple of things gone the wrong way could have ended pretty bad. Here we are after the big snow
Look at
last
that
night.
view.
Moon's still out, looking beautiful.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Oh yes, Hondo. These boom towns. I saw a news report on this guy
So,
a few days ago,
It was my birthday
and
the
he
other
was
day.
literally
Got
saying
myself
that
this cake.
it was literally something out of a
Good.
Clint Eastwood movie.
Found myself Hennessy in the cabinet. Never had Hennessy in my life. Seems like a great day for it. And it's just another conclusion of a day here at Cerro Gordo. Scenery never fails to disappoint. Never disappoints. So let's just ride this one out. Look at that.
That view is beautiful.
That's every day, folks.
I know, right?
It's every day here at Fat Hill.
Fat Hills, what he's calling it now.
All right, that's it. That's about all the talking to myself into a camera with nobody around that I can do. So until next time, signing out here at Cerro Gordo. So we're pretty far back. We're maybe half mile back in this mine, and there's just so many different layers to this place and levels.
Yeah, I'm not
It's-
going in a
this
mine.
is
Mm-mm.
No,
This is by
no, no,
far the
no.
craziest mine I've ever been into. It's one that I don't think a lot of people come to just because it's so far from Cerro Gordo. To be honest, it's pretty scary. Kind of want to get out of here, but I'll show you around a little bit more, and then we're going to take off and try to find the next one.
So I will, he's rebuilding this town. So I will, I'll put a link to his channel in the comments.
Yeah.
Because he's got a really neat channel there.
Yes. And I like how he goes out there and preserves the artifacts that he finds laying on the ground from this town.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing a wonderful job. I've watched several of his videos of the stuff that he's doing out there. And, you know, by the time he gets done with it, he's going to have a full town out there. Whether
And
he'll
did
let
you
people move in or not, I don't know. But, I mean, it could be lived in once he gets done with it.
And did you see that crazy bed?
Mm-hmm.
That had to
spring
be the
bed?
most. Yeah.
Well, they used to put, it was like they would make the feather beds and put on top of those. Back in the day, my grandmother had a bed similar to that, but it was like a full size or a queen size bed, and it had this huge feather mattress on it. And every time I would go and stay with her, I loved sleeping in that bed. That feather mattress was heaven.
Oh yeah. My mom talked about how her grandma had like some of that old metal bed frames and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That stuff
Yeah,
got
the
stolen
iron
years
beds.
ago. Yeah, iron beds. Yeah.
Yeah, those were a thing back in the day. Like my grandmother's, the bed had like the iron frame, but then it had like that spring thing for the mattress.
Yeah.
And it sat up really high. Like I can remember even when I was in like middle school trying to get in that bed, like you basically had to climb up in it. It was high, but that bed, it was perfect. I wish I had gotten a couple of her things when they did the estate auction. I got a it's an old chest. It's a not cedar. Well, maybe it is, but they hung clothes in it. And in the bottom, it's got
Yeah,
like a shoe
an
rack to put your
armoire. An
shoes.
armoire.
Yeah, but I think it's made out of cedar. Oh my gosh. My 91-year-old is calling over and over.
Oh no.
When she gets something on her mind, she calls and she'll call and call and call till I answer.
Oh no.
Hondo says he wore out bed springs on his bed. What were you doing, Hondo, to wear out those bed springs? Just kidding. Giving you a hard time. So yeah, that was the ghost towns that we looked at. There was a whole lot more
Yeah.
different ones. Hondo says for me, no, LOL. And I know Lise, when she was here the other day, talked about some in California, and I want to say his name was Billy Joe, talked about Pennsylvania and Ohio. And I know I changed the time of my live, so Sunday afternoons, you know, it's hard for people to come and watch live streams because of church and stuff. But
yeah.
I was detained last night. I did not get home until after 10 o'clock after being with my lady all day and getting her hair done and her nails done and doing returns with her that she needed to do and grocery shopping. So it was late by the time I drove the hour home. And I could have went on last night after 10 o'clock, but I was exhausted by the time I got home. So
yeah, you sent me a message.
Today. Yeah, I was exhausted. So
and I was kind of glad. I was kind of glad we changed it because I did get kind of buzzed, to say the least, yesterday.
That's okay. I was exhausted by the time I got home, and I was like, there's no way I'll be able to do a live tonight and stay up. So I apologize for rescheduling today, but real life will always come first over YouTube.
Yeah.
Hondo
Mhm.
says it's just an old bed. I wore it out sleeping on it, turning over one too many times. I need a new one. That happens, Hondo. Even with mine, I have a Sleep Number bed, but the edges of the bed have the foam around the air chambers. I need to order more foam because getting getting on and off the bed and stuff, and pour out the foam on my bed. Everything else works perfect, and it raises my head up, my feet up, it does all that. I just need to get in touch with Sleep Number and get me foam to go around the air chamber. But yeah, the channel of that guy that's doing his town is called Ghost Town Living. And just that one video there has 8.6 million views. It's
Yeah.
thing, and he's now been there over 3 years.
Yeah, and I thought that was cool though that he got interviewed, and one guy that wrote a book about that place literally said this town was something out of a Clint Eastwood movie when it was still an active town. They had shootings there like at least once a week.
That's crazy.
And I was talking about this the other day. In the saloon, they still have blood splatter from a shooting that happened there in like 1885.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right?
It is. So yeah, I love looking up ghost towns, and the other thing I like looking at is the abandoned mansions and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So there's a couple of guys that I follow that do that I want to do some reviews on. Because the guys, they're not from Belgium. I can't think where they're two brothers that go. They were in Georgia not long ago, and Tennessee, going over abandoned mansions. So I want to do some of those in the future. And the other thing that I love watching is hoarders, or
Yeah.
where they do those, and evictions. Evictions is a big one I love watching. There's a guy in Tennessee that I watch a long time. His name is Othniel Penn,
Yeah.
that does evictions, and he videos them every time he goes in. Like, he's a process server. So he's the one that actually goes and knocks on your door and says, you no longer live here, you're trespassing. And
he does
take your
that.
stuff out on the street.
Yeah. That's what he does?
That's what he does. He comes and knocks on your door and says, I've got the judge's order and you don't live here anymore. And he literally puts their stuff out on the curb. So yeah, I like watching him. And then there's some British shows I don't know if people watch. It's called Can't Pay, We'll Take It Away.
Yeah.
Or The Sheriffs Are Coming. Those are all shows that are over in England and or the United Kingdom. And they literally, over there, if you don't pay your bills over there, the judge will sign a writ, and they come knock on your door, and they're like, you owe this many pounds. Can you pay it? And if you don't pay it, or set up an acceptable payment arrangement, it's not what you want to pay it, but it's what they tell you to pay, they will come in and literally take your property.
Wow.
They start going through your house or business, and they're like, okay, this TV's worth this table's worth this, and they take enough stuff to settle the debt. Or if you have a car that you have the title to, they'll take your car. I've seen them go into restaurants and literally take the equipment out of the kitchens to settle a debt that a restaurant owes maybe a supplier. So I want to show some of those. I love watching those shows, because they just come and take your stuff. They don't do, fortunately for people, they don't do that here in the United States. Ruby, stop. You can't have that right now.
What's she doing?
She's got a little baggie where I had dumped out. Roxy likes the moist and meaty packs. That's like every day. And somehow or another, she got one of the empty plastic bags that it comes in. And was
Oh,
playing with it. She likes playing with anything like that. Hondo said, plus I love jumping up and down on my bed too much, so there's that. Yes, Hondo, that would be a problem if you're jumping up and down on your bed. Come on now, you're not a kid anymore. You got to stop jumping up and down on your bed. Give the fur babies a hug for me. I will, Hondo. All 4 of them are here, and they're getting aggravated because they're wanting to play. Normally when I stream it's at night and they're going to sleep, but since it's the middle of the afternoon, they are wide awake, and 3 of them are behaving, but Ruby is only 1.5 years old, so she's still got that puppy stage and she's still wanting to play. So she's trying her best to get into everything and play, and I'm not letting her right now. So she'll start barking at me here shortly and argue with me, because if I tell her no and look straight at her or whatever, she'll bark back and do is between a bark and a howl. I don't know what it is exactly, but she will actually argue with me, and then she gets all the other dogs howling. So I try not to argue with her too much.
Yeah, I've heard your dog. Yeah, I've heard the other dogs before. They start howling, and you're like, "Hush, hush."
I know it's so loud. You know, you get 4 of them going, and they will definitely deafen you. So, I have been on here, an 1.5 hours, and I've went through those towns that I had planned. Clancy, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No.
Yes, Hondo, they are spoiled. Very spoiled. Too much.
No, not this time. Sorry, I wasn't talkative today. I was just hungover.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. I
Yeah.
know how I was when I was your age. That was one of my things. Yes, Hondo, they are spoiled. They get fed before I eat. Always I fix their food first, and then I fix mine. And most of my spending money goes to them, buying treats and toys. Mainly treats. Because I don't want to feed them the same treat all the time. So I rotate their treats between them. So everybody has a wish list on Amazon. I have one, but it's just my reminder list of the treats. So I can look at what I've bought the last time and kind of rotate through them. I've got a few things like the syrup for my coffee, but everything else is dog related. So yes, they are spoiled. Too much sometimes. But with that, Clancy, if you don't have anything else.
No. I will talk to y'all later. Thanks for giving us some of your time. And I'm sorry, Susan. I'll let you do that.
Oh no, you're fine. You can say goodbye.
All right. I'll see y'all folks next time.
All right. Y'all have a good afternoon. Much love, everybody. And thanks for coming.